Welcome to Walker Tea Review. I'm Jason Walker, and it's really what I'm doing here is about teas. I'm personally, you probably have noticed, I'm nice and boring and that's okay because really what we're talking about is the teas. We are looking for new tea experiences, things that we can enjoy in the teas together. So we do the basic. We get a tea, we test it out, we taste it, we talk about it, we enjoy it. The tea that we have in front of us today is a Pouchong, which is the Chinese, mainland Chinese pronunciation. My Taiwanese is not as good. I think it's Pouchong is the pronunciation there. This is the kind of oolong that we're going to be looking at. So let's go ahead and get it started. We've got water that's been brought to an early boil, a proto boil you might say, and it's been cooling here for probably 30-40 seconds as I've been talking. We're going to get out a regular old daily use type of teaspoon, scoop it out here, and I've got enough that I can basically cover the spoon. But when I put it into my Chinese style gaiwan here, it's not really enough to cover the bottom. I do want to cover the bottom of this little bowl here. This bowl, by the way, is about 4 ounces. It'd hold about 4 ounces of liquid. And there we go. So that's about 2 teaspoons there. So approximately. So cap that for a second. Is what I'm trying to say, so we can come back and get some concentrated aromas off of there. We're going to add our water. Pour that right in. Kind of swirl it around so those leaves get coated. And pour enough so that when you put your lid on, a little bit of water, yes, rises just above the lid of your bowl here, or the rim, I should say, of your lid. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, let's talk about this tea. This is from Adagio. This is their FormosaPouchong. This is, as I said, a kind of oolong. They're different, different varieties of oolongs. And oolongs can vary, especially in the degree to which they are oxidized and roasted. This one has very little heat or roasting element applied to it, and it also is very light on the oxidation. Oxidation is basically a lot of that. What's happening is what's turning a green tea over to a black tea. Now, this one has gone through that aspect of the experience in a very brief and subtle way. The name can come from the Pouchong. Basically means the kind that is wrapped, and usually previously there was a paper wrapping that was involved in making and processing this tea. But this particular tea, or this particular sample here, is from Adagio, as we said. A sample size like this is available for $6, and this is part of Adagio's Masters collection. The Masters collection is a little bit higher end than their basic standard collection. It's for people who have gone through a lot of their other tea selection, which would be a challenge to do because Adagio's selection is quite vast. But if you're ready to go and bump up to the next stage and really look at some deeper, more pure teas, the Masters Collection gives you an opportunity to do that. Now, let's talk a little about this dry leaf here. I'm getting aromas, something like, first off, it has the aromas to me of a more like an Alishan, or a Dongding, some of those high-grown mountain type of Taiwanese teas. There's something about it that has a little bit of graham cracker taste or smell to it. There's something in it that has a little bit of English laurel. There's a bit of a shrubbery type, flower type smell going on there. So it's a little bit sweet, a little bit woody. Some people would say, with the Alishan, the Lishan, those type of elements, there's something pear going on here, roasted pear. Yeah, I could go along with that. But those are the aromas that are coming off of this. Looking at these leaves, because we said there's light oxidation, light roasting element, heat elements involved, we do expect to find, and this what we have, are green looking, and some people at first glance may think this is a green tea, but that's because of these bright, deep kind of green. This one's actually got a bit of a green towards the yellow tinge. You do get a little bit of blue-green in here as well, so you're getting some rich green type colors. Okay, you're also getting a larger size. One of the things you'll notice is that these are not like a lot of your Chinese green teas that have a 2-leaf and a bud type set. These are larger leaves. Here's a leaf that's curled up, but probably if you were to stretch it out, it'd be over an inch, 2 inches in length. So you've got some good size there. Okay, most of them do look like they are full size, full length leaves. More mature. They're not just the ones coming right off the sprout there, off the tip of the bud there of the plant. Let me set that aside for just a minute, because we do want to pour this, and I'm going to get out my towel because I usually make a mess. I at least get a few drips. And the key to not getting drips, the key is to open up your pouring area wider. Let the water flow through quickly. You may catch a few leaves, but that's okay. Sometimes those 1 or 2 leaves, in some, like in the Japanese experience, or in some Chinese experiences, one solitary leaf floating among the tea kind of has a romantic feel to it. So when you do lose a leaf, say you're adding a little bit of romance there. Okay, so here's how we pour. Got my 1 leaf in there. Just perfect, just added that romance there just for you. All right, we're going to go set that aside though and talk a little bit about this wet leaf. Okay. Get a good smell of it first. Sides that are still quite hot after our steep time there. Baojongs, for me, because of the light treatment of the oxidation, the light treatment of that heat, that process of roasting, drying aspects there, there's not a lot of strong aromas strong flavor components, aroma components coming off of this. As we said, there's a little bit of that kind of English laurel aspect still coming out. A light kind of floral pear juice type note coming off, but again, that's pretty subtle as well. So yeah, they're going to be fairly light and subtle components to this. Now I'm going to toss back these little portions because I don't believe they're fully representative. I need a clean slate for putting other pieces on here. Let's go back and get out, for example, here's a leaf section, half, 3/4 of a leaf. See a couple little brown spots there that could have been either from the field itself or just a little bit of reaction to some of the heat or drying that was done to this tea. Let's get out a couple of others. Here's a leaf that actually has gotten some browning along the edges, more so I would say than some other Baojongs. So, okay, let's pull out a couple of others. They're not all like that. Most of them, in fact, are not. So let's pull out a couple of others that do show a little bit more of the rich green colors that are coming out here, like this one. That one, not a completely intact leaf, but still good, wide, some resiliency, although tearing a little bit more easily there, but still rich green colors there, deep green. It's kind of like a spinach type color, cooked spinach. And I'm trying to look for one more that's nice and whole. There's a good leaf. I'm going to actually take away one of these other pieces here, put this full-size leaf in there, because it does actually look like something that you would find off of Alishan or Alishan type. Again, still tearing somewhat easily. Let's mash that down. There we go. Now, that takes care of our wet leaf, and we're ready to move on to our liquor now. A nice light honey. I mean, there's a yellow component. I mean, it is yellowish, but it does have a little bit of a brownish amber honey, like I said, kind of color there. I'm trying to remember. This one, in comparison to some others that I've recently tasted, it was a little bit lighter in color, which indicated gave me the impression that didn't get as much roasting done as some of the others. Again, some of those floral orchid and or pear notes are coming a little bit more now. Still some of the English laurel also. Okay, so let's give it a pour. Give it a try. A note here, Baojongs often, and a lot of your Taiwanese oolongs, I find I enjoy them even more so when they're a little bit cooler. They see a little bit more flavors tends to come out. It balances well with that kind of floral aspect. Very sweet lima bean. A faint touch of that graham cracker that I talked about before. And that English laurel type woody flower, small white flower type smell. Broth is thin and aftertaste is brief, even in comparison to other Baojongs that, you know, as a category, they are thinner and lighter than other Taiwanese oolongs. But even this one compared to other Baojongs, just not bringing that full amount. And the aftertaste is coming out a little bit more now. It's got a kind of it does have a floral component to it. Pear skin type. If you had peeled a pear and only eaten the skin, there's a little bit of that aspect coming out. So while this tea does have, a little bit of sweetness, some aftertaste, I'm going to give this tea an 89. An 89 because it doesn't have all those components of it. It could have had a little heavier broth. It could have had a little bit more fuller, rounded aftertaste. As it is, it drops off fairly quickly. And it kind of represents something more of a high-grown, or like I said, an Alishan or a Lishan, maybe a dongding that wasn't roasted very much. It had more of those components than it did have its own unique Baojong components to it. So, still some lovely components, but could be not bringing the full package there. So, come back and join us at Walker Tea Review, where I let the tea shine, I let the tea tell the story, and we enjoy those teas. We find new tea experiences together.